Hey folks, and welcome back. Today we are clearing the Deepverse level, and this will be the last video for our Mega Run. Deepverse level, not overly difficult in by itself. The boss, however, and especially on the hardest difficulties, is in my opinion the hardest one in this game. Right off the bat we get to see some of these annoying walls. Their job is to simply jump up and down. We also get to see these enemies that have a radius around them, but only a small part of it is highlighted, rather. As long as you're not standing in the highlighted part, you are perfectly fine to be close to them. And in here we get to see a snake enemy, a preview of the mini boss of this level, which we will get to see soon. We also get these enemies, another radius around them, but for these ones you actually, as long as you're the radius, there is no highlighted part, they will shoot an 8-directional attack. So you need to make sure that you're either sufficiently far away from them to kill them, or you are not in the 8-direction space. Also get to see these lasers, these worms, and basically just don't want to get hit by them. And we also get to see these vanishing blue platforms. They are active for a few seconds and then they become inactive, and what you need to do is simply jump on them when they are active, or in this case go through them when they are inactive. I believe that is it for the main components of this level. The level is a bit too busy as far as the visual design goes, so sometimes it is a bit difficult to understand just where you need to be, what is happening, where you need to go. We also get these platforms with little arrows on them. The arrows indicate where these platforms will move. As you can see, the snake enemy is fairly tanky, but every time you kill it, I believe it drops 3 scraps. And in here we get to see the mini boss. It is a snake-like mini boss. And basically whenever you do enough damage to it, it will lose the tip of the tail. When it loses the tip of the tail, 2 things will happen. It will become shorter, it will move faster as a result, and the second thing is that the tip of the tail will get detached from the body and will shoot a 4-directional ray or laser. So you need to make sure that you're not standing above it, below it, to the left or to the right of it, and make sure that there is at least some hiding space between the two of you if you are standing in that direction. Not the most difficult of mini bosses. It is a bit too tanky in my opinion though, and so the last few stages can be a bit annoying. And in here, I should not have taken that attack. The stage can vary depending on the difficulty. This is actually one of the easier stages in my opinion. Funnily enough, I think the easier difficulties have the more annoying stages, because there is less hiding space and less room for you to navigate away from the lasers. And once we kill it, we get the Memoria as well as, in this case, a power-up. And I believe, yeah, I go for the extra charge. Fantastic upgrade if you can especially combine it with some other upgrades that reduce the charge time, that increase the charge damage, or the helmet that makes it so that whenever you fire off a charged attack, the next one also becomes charged. That way you do a ton of damage every few seconds. The rest of this level will continue the same as always, or the same as what we've seen. The platforming sections become just a bit more tricky, but nothing you cannot handle. And as I've said before, if you can destroy those orbs from a distance, then you should. And if you actually have the speed upgrade, you can bypass a lot of these platforms, because the way they work is that they bridge the gap between two spaces that are a bit too far. So if you can actually jump long enough, you don't need to use them, and thus the platforming section will become easier. That part should not have been as difficult as I made it seem. Don't judge. The level, I believe, definitely becomes easier the more you practice on it compared to, for example, Penumbra. Penumbra is almost never easy. And in here, this blue platform is inactive for a very short time and is active for much longer. So, do jump. Don't just walk on it. This is Legacy, in my opinion, the hardest boss in the game, especially on the hardest difficulties, because of how random the attacks are, and on the harder difficulties, he is very tanky. So the odds of you getting hit goes higher and higher. Basically, there will be 3 indications on the screen showing you where the 3 parts will move to. The thing is, you're never really told which part is going where, so even when you try to dodge them, sometimes you might end up getting hit. The second attack is this, basically what we're seeing right now, is that he recalls the 3 parts, they revolve around him, and he moves towards you. The best way to tackle this is to go up or down, and then once he reaches you, you go to the other side of the screen, or vice versa, you go to the other side of the screen and then up or down. The other attack, which we saw earlier, is that the parts or the components will do an attack that looks like their shape, and this attack is his primary attack for the second phase. As you can see, I was struggling to figure out how to do damage to him, but basically you need to be inside that green circle. And in here, if you want to pause and take a look at the attack patterns of every component, for example, these are triangles, they will always shoot in that kind of pattern. The crosses will always shoot in a cross shape away from them. The rules as to where the electric bolts will move on the ground and where they will just get blocked, I'm still not entirely clear on them. Sometimes they get blocked, sometimes they don't. But yeah, the main idea is that you want to stand inside the green barrier and attack the boss, and that should be it. And he actually drops one of the more useful ones. The negation pulse is extremely good against the Zen Primus boss if you're having any difficulty with it. But either way, this is the last run for our mega run, and starting the next video we will be going over the standard runs as well as start our guides. Thank you for watching.